Let me see a show of hands. Who owns a kayak? Excellent, excellent, excellent. Back there in the back too. Excellent. All right. Do you fish out of them? Yes, yes. Do you catch fish out of them? Sometimes. That's all right. That doesn't matter if it's a kayak, it's a float tube, you're on the bank, you're on a boat, doesn't matter. Sometimes it's fishing, sometimes it's catching. That's how it works. But why did I get a kayak? I used to have a bass boat. You know, like it. I love fishing out of a bass boat. It's fine. But the kayak just kind of brought me back to basics. But number one, it allowed me to get back on the water easier and more frequent. Definitely, once you make the initial investment, it's virtually no maintenance. Just take it out there, put it in the water, and go. Have fun. Get you on the water, and that's the point, is to get out there. And like I said, low initial costs. I mean, there's different kinds of kayaks, you know, from $300 brand new to $3,000 brand new. It all kind of depends on what you want to pay for, what kind of features you want in it. If you want to be able to stand in it, if you want to be able to, you know, use it with a traditional paddle, or if you want to buy one that has more of a foot control propulsion, like a Hobie or a Native, they have the foot control propulsion. Definitely, I fish out of a Hobie. I think it has a significant advantage due to the fact that it's pretty much hands-free. I mean, I'm moving on propulsion with my feet. I'm steering with one hand. I can always have a rod in my hand and the other. You know, just always gives me more cast, gives me more ability. I think they're awesome. And the platform itself is the ultimate fishing platform. I mean, it's just super stable. I can dance in this thing. You probably wouldn't want to see me dance, but I could dance in it. It's awesome. So there was a lot of hands that didn't come up that don't own kayaks. So let's back up a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about, so you're interested in kayak fishing or maybe kayaking in general. What do you need to look for? Where do you go? Where do you start? What kind of questions do you have? So let's start with the basics of kayak. So essentially, in a nutshell, there are two types of basic kayaks. There's a sit-in, and they call them SITs, and then there's a sit-on tops, which are represented here. Basically, the sit-in, there's usually a small cockpit that you're actually embedded in, sitting on some sort of cushioned seat, and usually the rest of the hull kind of wraps around you. You can fish out of them, no problem. You can add rod holders. They work great. However, they have some limitations of storage, how much you can put in there, how much you can grab quickly. One of the things I don't like about those is if you ever flip one, they don't self-drain. So if you ever flip one, that 50-pound kayak will turn into a 500-pound kayak real quick. It starts taking water in it. So you got to be careful with those. Definitely most of the sit-on tops, or all the sit-on tops, are going to have these things they call scupper holes. There are various holes throughout the kayak that if water comes in the inside, you take a wave or what have you, the water is just going to run right back out. So that's kind of the general differences. But they're going to vary in sizes, 8 foot, 9 foot, 10 foot, on up to 16 to 18 foot. Generally fishing around Arizona, we don't have giant lakes. We're not, Minnesota, Michigan. So for fishing our lakes, I would recommend, somewhere between that 10 foot to maybe 15 foot range. It might be a good idea. And then the other things you want to look at when you're buying a kayak is the capacity. How much capacity is it going to hold, basically? And they're going to be rated in pounds. This is a 250-pound kayak. This is a 300. This one right here is actually 600. And they go up from there. There's some that are 900-pound capacity. So there's some big kayaks out there. But definitely be aware of your capacity. Not only the weight of yourself in it, but any gear you're going to bring along if you're fishing. You need to calculate that in there, and any things you're going to add on as far as rigging and et cetera. Beyond that, there's, this sport is blowing up like crazy. Paddle sports in general, kayak fishing in general. There are some hybrids out there. There are some canoe/kayak hybrids. There's definitely the stand-up paddle boards, and there's some that are combination, almost kayak/stand-up paddleboard. I don't really care what kind you like, what kind you want to get. Just, get out there and have fun. All right. Most of them are going to be plastic. However, there are manufacturers that make inflatables. full inflatable kayak, full inflatable, SUPs, stand-up power boards. If you don't have the room, or you may not have the ability to transport it, maybe you're in a very small car, driving a little Toyota Prius or something, don't want to roof rack it, you can do the inflatable kind. And those inflatable kind, if you get a good one, very, very sturdy, very sturdy. I mean, you can't poke holes in them with a hook. You can run them against rocks. You can beat them up. I mean, the material they're putting on these days are just amazing. And that's a testament to the whole industry kind of blowing up in this area. Is the technology is getting better and better. These things are getting faster. They're getting more stable. In the last few years, probably 3 years, definitely kayak fishing has become just huge, and you'll notice that in the seats. The seats have gotten way more comfortable. A lot of the kayaks nowadays have some sort of Larry chair type, beach chair almost type seat in them, because when you're out there kayak fishing, you may be out there 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, and definitely comfort is a key. So wrapping up, when you're looking for a kayak, do your, have your budget, get an idea of what you want. But my best advice I can give you is demo, demo, demo. I've seen a lot of people get into the kayak fishing craze or kayaking in general, and they rush out, they buy one or they buy a used one on Craigslist. They get out there and they flip it, they don't like it, they find out that it's not comfortable, the seats are terrible, don't have any room, and then back on Craigslist a month later, and they're already upgrading. So do your homework, go to a reliable dealer or something, or if you have friends that own them, bug them. Hey, can I demo your kayak? Ask around on forums. Hit Facebook. There's a giant Arizona motorless and kayak forum. I think there's 1,000 members. Be glad to answer any questions. I mean, that's one thing about the kayaking community, very welcoming. So hit them up, do your homework, make a good decision, demo your boats, and have fun with them. Now, so you buy a kayak. You're out there, what are you going to do with it? Well, you can take them anywhere. That's one of the great things about kayaks. You can roof rack them, put them back of a truck. Some of the bigger ones you may want a trailer, depending on how many you have or how big they are. But you can basically take them anywhere. Of course, you can use a boat ramp at any of the lakes, pull up there, unload your kayak, get in the water and go. But you don't need a boat ramp. Anywhere there's some land that's not sheer cliffs or anything, you can pretty much just drive up and portage it from your vehicle to the area and get in and fish. One of the other key things about kayaks is if you're local and it's getting 120 degrees down here in Arizona, you want to head up north, hit some of the rim lakes or some of the White Mountain lakes, you may run into motor restrictions. You can't take a power boat. Maybe you want to go catch some trout, you want to go catch some walleye. You'll find those lakes where they may have 10 horsepower restrictions or complete restrictions. You can't have any gas motors. Voila, you can take your kayak up there and you're good to go. So that's one of the benefits I love about it. You can take them anywhere. You can take them in the ocean, in the surf. That's kind of where they started. No problem there. Take them out in the ocean. I prefer freshwater. I'm definitely afraid of water and definitely afraid of things like sharks. I'd still do it, but man, I'd be very cautious. Very cautious. But they're capable of doing it. They're super stable, fast. To give you an idea how fast they can be, in this particular model, on an easy pedal for me, I'm averaging about 2-3 miles an hour, and that's just easy, taking it easy. If I'm on a full sprint, I'm in a hurry somewhere, I can do it for a little while, I can get close to 6 miles an hour on this thing. So in our lakes, if you can go 2 miles an hour, you can get, it may take you a little longer than those glitter rockets over there, but you can get there, I mean, it's basically the same thing. So now you have it on the water. What do you take with you? First thing I'm talking about is safety. You got to be safe. So the minimum requirements for a kayak is to have a PFD with you. You need to have a PFD. If you're younger than 16 or so, I definitely got to have it on. If you're older, it needs to be readily available, but I'm going to suggest you wear it at all times, especially if you're out there alone. Different kinds of PFDs. There's your standard PFDs you see, almost like a ski vest type thing. If you're going to be out there fishing all day, especially down here local where it's hot, I would recommend getting one of these either manual or automatic inflatable PFDs. They're a lot smaller. And one of the key things is there's not a lot of material on your back. So as you're sitting in that seat all day, You don't want that foamy material riding up on you, kind of giving you some discomfort, messing with your back. I'd recommend getting a bass boat type style PFD. And like I said, they come manual, where you have to pull the plug if you fall in, and then there's automatic ones where they either have tablets that disappear as the water hits them and they poof, pop up on you. But they're one-time use. So after you use it, you're gonna have to recharge it again and go get a new cylinder. But these things are worth their weight in gold, might save your life, get you one that fits well, make sure you're comfortable out there. That's key, especially if you're gonna be out there 6-8 hours, or like me, even worse, 10 hours. You wanna be comfortable, because if you're not comfortable, you're not gonna wanna continue doing it. And I want you to have fun, I want you to get off the bank, have some, catch some fish.